was an interesting ending. I want to know more about Ardbort and his group. I feel like we didn't get enough of that. Where did Urianger go? I guess we're not going to find out until the patches. So that was the end of Shadowbringers, the main expansion. And now there's like what, 5 patches to go through? And then I'll be caught up and ready for Endwalker. Lena didn't get enough story. She didn't get nearly enough screen time. Lena was one of my favorite characters, but she wasn't in the story enough. And there was nothing at all in this entire expansion of how they're going to get back to the source. So they're going to have to deal with that afterward. There was nothing at all about the whole Black Plague Garlemald thing. Did they prevent the calamity or not? It's not really clear to me whether they prevented the 8th Umbral Calamity. I guess they did. I didn't really... The Crystal Exarch as a character didn't really do much for me. I just didn't feel like he was really developed that much. Fio Ul was a great character, but you know, there wasn't any character arc there either. She was just sort of comic relief, but she was funny. Definitely has major codependence problems though. She should see a therapist about that. What is that? Who is that? Oh, that was the guy that was caught by Lord Vothry. I remember. Lord Vothry, the cartoon villain. Oh, I never noticed this before. He's got a little face there under his armpit. I never saw that before. Alphino. So, I guess overall, I felt like it was okay. I didn't... I'm having a little bit of a disconnect because, you know, this Shadow Walkers was universally loved. I never heard anybody say they didn't love Shadowbringers and think it was the best expansion. Possibly even the best Final Fantasy story ever. But I thought it was okay. I don't really see why it was so great. I mean, it was okay. I guess it was just sort of a, you know, your basic tale of good versus evil. I guess maybe that's why everybody liked it, because this is a pretty simple sort of a fairy tale of good versus evil where the good guys won. And That was about it. There wasn't really a whole lot more to it than that. Oh, Tesleen. Oh, man. That was the best story in the expansion for me. That Tesleen story. The very short story, but that was the best part of the expansion by far. That was the best developed little short story. I feel like Thancred and Reen, they were doing an interesting sort of character story with those two, but then they just kind of stopped. As soon as Reen got a new hair color and new eyes, they just kind of stopped talking about Reen and Thancred. I guess that was the end of their story. I'm assuming that at some point we're going to learn more about this Crystal Exarch and why my character knows his name. I still want to go back to the Never-Ending Storybook and look up the Crystal Tower quest, the original Crystal Tower quest, because I feel like that might be one of those people. Because I have a vague memory that there was a male Makoti involved in that quest. Where was that? Where was that little guy? I don't remember that little guy. What happens to Yulmore now that Lord Vothry's gone? Who's in charge of Yulmore? Somebody has to be, running the place. Somebody has to pay the guards. The guards are still there. They still even had the immigration center down there on the bottom. I feel like they don't really need that anymore. Who is that? Is that Fio? That's Fio. Oh, maybe that was the former... Maybe that was the former Queen Titania. Or King Titania, whatever. We didn't see the former Titania except in a trial. Ranjit. I don't feel like Ranjit had much of an effect on the story. He was just kind of there. He was just a speed bump. So many times characters seem to die in this expansion, and then it turns out they were fine. Runar was a great character. You gotta wonder if Y'shtola would stay with the Knights Blessed. Or would she go back to the source? Speaking of Y'shtola, heroically died, and then she was back 2 quests later. As if nothing had happened. You gotta figure that Emmett Selk regretted bringing her back to life. I hope somehow they can, I really like the idea of Ardbert's sort of redemption arc. I feel like his story is a way better story than our story. His story, I feel like that would make a really good book or a movie or something. What they went through, Ardbert and his group, was a pretty epic tale. But we didn't really get to see it, really. We just sort of saw the edges of it. But I was really glad to see they dug into that a little bit with the role quest. We got to see a little bit about Renda Ray. And it was nice to see some of that backstory of their group. I would like to see a lot more of that in the future, but I don't know if they're going to do that. I actually like it more when they focus less on my player character and focus more on the characters that are around my character. So I feel like my player character is best used as an observer to stories around them in this MMORPG sort of a setting. I don't really feel like it works that great when the player character is a part of the story, or certainly driving the story. You know, this whole hero of the world thing, it gets old pretty fast for me. It's like, oh, okay, well, of course they're going to save the world. Of course they're not going to die because I'm the player. There's no real surprise to what's going to happen there. But when they tell stories about the people around the player character, then you don't really know what's going to happen, so it's a lot more interesting to find out how those characters are going to develop. You can't really develop the player character as a story character. They only have one function. They're always the hero. They're always going to win. So it's hard to really knock them, you know, it's hard to provide obstacles for the player character in a narrative sense. Obstacles and conflict and those sorts of things. So I liked the Reen story. I thought that was really interesting. I feel like they could have developed it more. I wish we could have seen more with Lena. I mentioned that before. I wish we could have seen more with Runar. I didn't really feel like any of the Super Friends characters really... didn't see a lot of development from them, so they were just kind of there for most of the game. There was a little bit with Thancred and Reen, which I liked, but I don't think they went into that as much as they could have. I would have liked to have seen more of that. I'm really interested to see what's going on with Xenos. I never liked Xenos from Stormblood. I never liked that character, but I find it more interesting now, now that he's, you know, risen from the dead and he's coming back to reclaim his body. I think that's a more interesting story for Xenos, so I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen there. That feels like a better backstory than what he had before, which before he didn't have anything. He was just a flat character, but now suddenly he has, you know, some character development. Like, he died, and now he's back. That's an interesting character development. These credits sure go on for a long time. I have to wait through the whole thing, too, because you know they're going to do some cutscenes at the end. They always do cutscenes at the end of the credits. What is that? Oh, that's the whale. Forgot what the whale was called. Not Leviathan, not Bahamut. Bismarck. How are they going to get Reen back to the source? That's what I want to know. I feel like they can do some hand-wavy magic stuff to get the regular Scions back to the source, but how are they going to get Reen back to the source? She doesn't have a body over there. All the Scions can just reoccupy their old bodies. But poor Reen, she doesn't have a body to go to. Maybe she'll have to steal somebody else's body. She can take Tuturu's body. No, that wouldn't be fair. This is probably the first expansion where we haven't seen Tuturu. Speaking of which. I didn't really care for this Crystal X arc that much. It just felt underdeveloped to me. I just don't care. That's basically what it boils down to. I just kind of don't care. Ardbert, the real hero of this story, saved his world after all. Despite setbacks, 100 years living as a ghost, he finally redeemed himself. He deserves a hero's celebration for his work in this expansion. They should have an Ardbert celebration day in the first every year to celebrate his saving of the world. You know, I wonder if he's still there. Is he still merged with our character? Did their two souls merge together? Is that a permanent thing? Oh, the old Renda Ray and Ardbert and friends. What does that mean if their souls are merged? And who is our character who has survived 7 previous calamities / rejoinings? And how does Emmett Selk know us? All questions for later, I guess. Questions for the game forums. Someday I would like these credits to end. Game masters? What are game masters? in a game development studio, what are game masters and senior game masters? Someday I'd like to see these cutscenes in like German or Japanese or something like that, just to see how they compare. That would be amusing, I think. This has to be the longest credits in any Final Fantasy XIV expansion. I feel like these have been going on for like 20 minutes now. These credits are still going. I thought we were almost done. Guest creators: Eden, Yorha, Dark Apocalypse. I don't know what those are. Special thanks. I thought we were getting to the end, but there's more. And more. And more.